Hey, last time I finished one of these, I said, see me in 2 weeks. A lot of you complained that it was actually 3 weeks. I'm going to try better in the future to get that right because, I didn't realize you were, like, planning vacations around it. Hey, you know what? We did our first YouTube poll instead of Sea Captain polls over on Twitter. Huge improvement. Tons of engagement, which is a very important word in modern television. We asked the question, which episode to submit? 6,500 votes. And episode 127, which is the one we submitted, they agreed. But this is interesting, though. We also posted a poll asking if you were cool voting, even though it was too late for us to change our submission. 25,000 votes on that. So for the helpful one, we actually wanted your feedback, 6,500 votes. And then for the joke, useless one, 25,000 votes. Someone did say the second poll I mentioned in corrections was posted first. And that does reinforce our digital team's ethos, which is, what do we think Seth wants? Now let's around with that a little bit. Digital, currently crushing it, though. It's a very big time for digital. Our 10-year anniversary, Oral History, which is a podcast, won a People's Voice Webby Award, so congratulations to everybody in digital. It is really good. It's a special podcast episode, so make sure you find it wherever NBC posts their podcasts. Your guess is as good as mine. I'd go right to the cutting edge, and then it's probably like a mile or so from there. Someone wrote in, Sarah Lawrence does not have major issues. Hey, we had a joke about Rudy Giuliani's birth certificate and how, here's a picture of it. You're probably already well ahead of me. We said he had his blood type on his birth certificate because he was a vampire. A lot of people said vampires aren't born. That was a common refrain. But, like, what if both vampires what both parents are vampires? Can they have a vampire baby? Sound off in the closet. And by that I mean, go in, if you have thoughts on that, go into your closet, close the door, and then just say it to yourself. A very fair correction was, why would his birth certificate have a photo of him now? That's a correction we like to file right away and more than fair. But remember, this is a man who did a press conference at Four Seasons Landscaping when it was very clearly meant to be at a Four Seasons hotel. So is it really beyond belief, he would think? That you had to update your birth certificate with a more recent photo? Hey, we referenced Chris Kattan's Mango as a mango that was produced domestically. That is not where Mango, the character, is canonically from. Shoemaker, I will give you permission to speak. I rarely do. But do you remember where Mango was from? Mango Island. I looked it up. It was true. Oh, but I do want to do a new end graphic because we haven't changed our end graphic for a while. So it'll be me, and then I'll say this, and then I think you know what to replace my head with. Ready? You can have the closer look, but you... Great. Speaking of SNL, someone said my Bane sounds like Daryl Hammond's Sean Connery impression in Celebrity Jeopardy. Hurtful. If there's just any... If I could just beg of Sal, stop doing Star Trek jokes in a closer look. I heard so much about this. Someone wrote in, is this a sauna command ship? I don't know. Is it? Favorite, there's a lot of nice comments this week. Not nice, we're never nice. But they're fun. Here's one. The host of this show is a complete idiot. but nothing compared to his cult followers commenting here. I like that because I was like, hey, ha, 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 ha. We had a real breadth of corrections about the singing brainworm. We had sort of the highbrow correction. Someone said, is he really trying to pass off a Lumbricus terrestis off as a tapeworm? He clearly hasn't seen the Taina cilium before. Then there are people who, like, are smart but, like, don't use the Latin. So they say brainworms are not segmented like earthworms, but are either flatworms or roundworms. And then there's people who give you a true fact while forgetting it's a comedy show and say things like, brainworms can't live outside the body. You know, we just thought it would be funnier than depicting it as what, like an egg it laid in my stool? And then there's just what I would call comment fingers, which is just an affliction where you just see something and you got to type something in the comments. A bunch of you were like, worms can't sing. This is my favorite little one-act play. Somebody wrote, wow, that one dude in the audience thought this was really funny. Please do better, Seth, and retire this routine. When someone, a friendlier jackal, jumped in and wrote, retire this routine? Do you mean retire corrections itself? Stop right there. I will wait while you quietly leave the room with no further absurdity or disrespect. Then the first person jumped back in and said, it was not funny at all. Further, not sure of the audience size, but you could hear a pin drop. Just felt like it was badly written, but please don't let me stop you. Feel free to stop right there as I leave the room to find something that's actually funny. Friendly jackal again. This isn't his normal show with audience. It's a correction version. The people in the audience are just his staff. This show is to address the jackals who write in corrections. To which our first person, in the final line of the scene, says, fair enough, thank you. I'll skip these in the future. I don't need to see how the sausage gets made. Not, by the way, not the only Buck-related comment, because, spoiler alert, that's who he's talking about. Someone wrote in, who's that one guy laughing so hard? Buddies, we're way too deep into this for you to be asking that question. That's like somebody walking in, like, during the series finale of Game of Thrones being like, oh, they ride dragons? You know, it's really something that I was like, hey, please stop sending me Mac Tonight merch. And now I just get like this every single week. It's basically like I said, is there anything more distressing to get than Mac Tonight merchandise? And Cosby said, hold my cappuccino. Oh, I almost forgot. It's time for our new segment, Guy and Doll. I asked NBC if they could get Luck Be a Lady Tonight as the theme for this segment. And they said it was too expensive. They did offer to pay for a sound-alike, which I'll play for you in a moment. And when I do, I think you'll all agree it's not acceptable. Now it's time for a new segment, Guy and Doll.
Chance! She is a fickle mistress this evening.
I will take Gotham's spirit. I will also take Gotham's soul. I will also take anal bum covers for $700.
Find your lens. Did a real good Dennis Miller bit last week, and someone said, wait, I'm sorry, am I just supposed to know who Dennis Miller is? The greatest tribute I could do to Dennis Miller would to be do a comedy bit where you don't get the reference. Well, I mentioned RoboShoe last week, and man, oh man, did people come to play. Kind of phenomenal what happened, really. When I went to the old P.O. box today, I don't go. Take out my little key.
Hey, Pat. Yep, I'm back. Corrections. Oh, these stamps are getting expensive, Pat.
We talked about how Shoemaker has now a robotic knee because he had his knee surgery, and well, the place just went nuts. This is there's going to be 3 entries here. I mean, this one is very good because it got the torso exactly right. Very, very good. This would take the cake on a normal week, but it's a bad week to take the cake because somebody brought the chocolate. You guys remember the children's book character, Mike Witzer, Sound Mixer? Well, his wife, Andrea Witzer, is back at it and made a chocolate shoemaker. Also, if we can zoom in, she said you can tell it's Shoemaker. She gave him Angelina Jolie lips. And if you recall, Robo Shoemaker complained about how we have no new snacks. And again, just to prove the talent of Andrea Witzer, this is a little thing. This looks so much like an Oreo. And you guys, whole time, chocolate. Not the best chocolate. I think maybe at Hershey they have a put it in a Hershey bar pile and send it to Andrea. Oh. I mean, this, if somebody sent me this, I'd be like, that's all right, but that's kind of part Mikey, part machine, all shoe. I mean, that's just Photoshop. But then came with this action figure of RoboShoe and the real coup de grace, double middle fingers. Available, like everything of ours, at the NBC store, one of each. And I said, how much are you charging? And NBC's like, I think we're just going to let people name their price. And I'm like, feels like we could do a little bit better than that, but lock me up. Well, I can't even do that. You will see me next week.